My name is, excellent, good. My name is Emmy Hilliard, and I'm a program manager with Technology for Tomorrow. We're a local nonprofit 501c3, and we love working with CVOEO. You'll usually find me teaching and doing grant writing. So Liz, my grant writing sister, I understand. And I work with Ranga and love doing these things with you all. So welcome.
Thank you all. Thank you, Emmy. My name is Ranga. I am also a program manager. The only thing is I'm located in Phoenix, Arizona. So it's a nice warm day today for us. I'm going to start by sharing my screen and we'll go from there. What I typically like to do is to start from any one of the Google apps. Gmail, Drive, it does not matter which one. You just log in using your credentials into any one of the Google apps. And I logged into Google Drive, which is one of the apps, because from this screen or any screen, you can quickly navigate to all the other Google apps, okay? So to the very right is this little grid right next to your display picture and your login credentials. If I click on it, it opens up a window with the most commonly used Google apps, okay? This is where you can go to Google Docs or Google Sheets or Google Slides or Google Forms, most of them. Okay, so I'm going. This is how I go from one to another. So let's say, for example, you were in Gmail. Okay, this is my Gmail. So even in Gmail, you see this grid. This grid is common to all the Google apps. So you don't have to worry about knowing exactly where to go. You can log into Google with your credentials, click on this grid, and it'll take you to the most common tools, okay, that we use. So that said, what is the agenda for today? So the idea is, suppose you're starting a small business and you want to use some of Google's free products to share some information about your business, okay? What I'm trying to achieve at the end of this is I want to create a simple website using a free Google product so that I have a URL that I can share with someone through an email or through my business card, and that link will give us more information about the business. Idea is that I cannot get all this information into one document or in any other form. It's because it's a free product. We're going to try doing that. The second thing is, if you want to go a step further, you can use this free site that you created and make it professional with your own URL and things like that, okay? I will touch upon that as we go through. So what I've done is created like a little idea of what I want to do in this class. So my idea for a business is to create a child care center. Okay, so for the child care center, I have this few headings that I wanted to have next to write for. So I'm getting myself prepared. I have the center size, hours of operation, location, who the director is, and a contact us with the address. Okay, this is what I want to display on the page that I am going to create in this class. Okay, now this document has been created using a Google Doc. So you can always go to Drive and say new and right here is a doc. You can create a Google Doc that way too. Or you can always go into your Chrome browser and just do doc.new, and it automatically opens a new document. And the same thing is valid for most Google products, new.sheet or sheet.new, sorry, new.slides, and it opens it up. This is only for the Chrome browser because it's compatible with Google, okay? So I created this document using a new document, and I changed the font to so that it's visible. Next, I kind of filled up these headings so that in the interest of time, I don't have to do it in front of you. I just added what I wanted to have on my splash, the main homepage of my web page. Exactly, I just filled up all the items, okay? And this is a fictitious address, by the way. Please don't try to go there in Burlington. I hope you won't. It's a real address though, but just for the purpose of this class, I took it down, took it so that I could get a map out of it. Okay, then I created a Google Sheet. A Google Sheet is an equivalent of Microsoft Excel. And in this Google Sheet, what I wanted to do was to mention what the tuition and the fees are for my tutorial, for my childcare center. Okay. So what I did is added items such as registration or tuition 5 days a week and lunch, and have these amounts here. So the advantage of this is, one, I'll show you what it means to embed this complete sheet into my site. And if I make any changes on my sheet, it automatically reflects on my site also. So I don't have to do it twice. The second thing is the sheets affords us to easily change the formats of the numbers we write. So for example, if I write a number 32 here, I can quickly go make it $1, and then I can reduce the number of decimals or increase the number of decimals very easily with just the click of a button, okay? And that is one of the advantages, and and you can do mathematical calculations when you want to total things up and other things like that. This is a very simplistic example, but the idea is to give you an introduction so you could extend this to whatever elaborate sheet you want to have for whatever business you're trying to make or create. Okay, now I have two documents ready with me. One is what I want to have on the first page, and second is a little sheet that has things about money, okay? When we get to the third part, I'm also going to create, as we'll see how much time we have, to create a form that people can fill in so that you can get an email whenever someone fills in, or there are other options too. I'm going to go through some of those options too. Now, to create what's a site, we have to go to a website called sites.google.com. Okay, I've told you before that you can click on this and go to the most common apps, but unfortunately, Sites is not a part of the common apps, okay? That's the reason why you have to go to sites.google.com. And that is because I'm using a business account, okay? I want to show you how it looks if I use my personal account. A personal account is an account that is not a Google workspace, but a personal account that you create on your own. So for example, I opened another browser window, but this time, this is my personal Gmail. Here, if I go to, let's say, Gmail and do the same thing, but click on the grid here, if I scroll down to the bottom, I will see more from Google. I click on more from Google and it opens up a product page. As I scroll down and go to all the products, it will display all the products that you can access with your free personal account. You will be surprised with how many products Google has. As I scroll down this list, I will see sites. Okay. So if you're using a personal email, it's a quick access by clicking the grid and going through. But because I'm using a workspace or an account from my business, it is not one of the commonly used features because they assume that every business already has a website. I don't know why. Okay. So I go to the site called sites.google.com. So instead of starting from scratch, I'm going to go to the template gallery, which is on top. Okay, the idea is that I'm going to adapt something that's already there and then make it suitable for my child care center. So under work, under small business, I am going to choose one called Dog Walker. This is a holiday party, a photo portfolio. I think there are about 5 of them that are available for you to choose. You can also create something from scratch, but try it out with this first and then go and experiment with the new ones. The learning curve is not steep at all. So I'm going to start with this dog walker template for small business. I just click on it. I have this little color ball that kind of keeps going. Okay, now that I have this, I'm going to rename this my child care center. Okay. So I'm changing. It's just a click and change. Okay. Now, that is the title. Now the image on the back is of some dogs, right? Which is not really related to my child care services. To change the image, all I do is click on change image. And instead of uploading something, I do a select image. The advantage of the select image is I can do a search for images. Not just any kind of image, images that are labeled for commercial reuse with modification. So they're not copyrighted in any way. You don't have to rack your brain about, whether it's copyrighted or not and things like that. I'm going to go here and I can pick any of these images right here. So I'm going to pick one that has these children and say select. It takes a moment, but it populates it. Okay. And after that, this is just a question of filling up sections of these. Okay. What I'm going to do is to use what I have filled, copy and paste it into this section. So for example, I am going to create separate sections for about us, center size, hours of operation. I could put them all, copy it all and put it in a page, but I want to be able to adjust and move it, you see, like this. So if at all I choose to move one section to the top or bottom, I can just grab and start moving it. I did something, so I'm going to do an undo. There it is. So my about me becomes about us, and I am going to highlight this text and paste as plain text. Okay. Then I'm going to do some adjustments by removing these spaces and changing the alignment. And I need to do some work to kind of make it. So this looks too small. I'm going to drag this to the right. So it kind of takes up most of my. So as you keep dragging, you see these guides that automatically show up. They're like little gray vertical lines that show up. They're pretty useful for you to align things so that they become uniform. Okay. Now, after doing this, I need to do that part too. So let's say this is where I stand. Now, what I can quickly do is once I'm in this, use an option to duplicate a section. So I just quickly duplicate the section, and in this, I can kind of add in. Okay. So it's centered. It's of the same font that I want it to be. And I don't like this section at the bottom. I don't want it. I just highlight it. You should be able to see one blue border around it. Okay. It's not completely visible, but I can see it on my screen. Once it's highlighted, I just press the delete key and it goes away. Okay. So I can keep duplicating this and I can continue with and adjust the font so they all are aligned and they look like a reasonably good, simple, straightforward web page. Okay. I'm going to take 1 minute here to get a sip of water. And any questions so far?
I guess, Rhonda, I'm just wondering, like, I did my own website on Wix. I'm just wondering if Google you can use a different platform, or you just mean you have to stay with the Google platform forever.
No, you can use another platform.
Okay.
To do so. It's just a question of pointing the web address to where you want it to go. So the idea of this is, right, any other website will have some kind of, made by Wix if it's a free site, or something that tells you it's not a paid version, but Google doesn't.
Okay.
Okay. And if you don't want to spend money for a custom domain, your own www,
Yeah.
you can continue to use what I'll show you how to do that. And you can continue to use this. And whenever you're ready, you can just buy just a domain. You don't have to buy any hosting service.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the other advantage is the integration with the other apps that are there. Mm-hmm. So I can embed a Google Sheet directly, and I can just make changes to the sheet and it automatically updates it here on my site. So there are some advantages. I mean, it's not as polished as some of the great, the website building is an art on all of its own, right? But this, if you're starting a business, this may not be a bad way to go about. And there are some advantages with Google now that were not there in the past. I will talk about that in a moment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, now let's say I have filled up everything that I wanted to fill. Okay. So now here I have my location. Let me see if I can duplicate one of this one more time. I need to paste as plain text for me to keep it. Okay, now instead of putting in just the address, I can actually copy the address and I can insert a map. Okay, so I copied the address. I am just going to paste the address in here and press enter. So it's going to show me the map and I can just select it and it puts it right in there. Now, the advantage of this is anyone who clicks this can quickly access and get the directions to your place. And it's a good advantage. And Google Maps is pretty popular too of getting directions. And it's an easy thing to do. Okay. You can add those things the way you feel fit. Okay, that's one of the things that is an advantage of this. Okay, so I have a few sections that I already added to my main web page. Now I'm fairly satisfied by the way this is looking. I know there are a couple of other sections, but those are added just like you've added these sections too. And each of these sections can also, you can change them the way, but independent of each other, right? Like for example, so I highlighted everything called the center size. I can go to this palette and then I can select a style that is different with a different kind of a color. And see that the choices are limited, but you can kind of separate each of these sections out so that they're visually separated from each other. Okay. So I have this page that I created. Next, what I want to do is to create a second page in which I want to put in my fees and rates per day, the one I created here. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to this next section called pages. What is shown here is home. So I am going to create a new page and I'm going to call it fees and tuition. Okay, what it does is duplicate the first part into the second part. Okay, everything else being the same. The bottom is completely blank. Now, because this is a new about fees and tuition, I'm just going to change this image, select an image. I'm going to go to search. And I know that all these images I can use without having to worry about paying royalties. I'm going to check for anything that has fees. I don't know which is a better. Let's say I choose this. Okay, I'm just using some image. Okay, you could choose something that has more relevance to this. Okay, now that I have this, what I want to do is to use this sheet that I made and add it to this. Okay, now I go back to my insert. I'm on this page. Here under this list, this is one of the advantages of Google I was talking about. A lot of these are Google products. Okay, and it helps you do this very quickly. So I can add a sheet here or insert a sheet This is my CVCO tuition. This is the file I was looking for. And it inserts it right here. I can make some adjustments to it so that it depending on the size of it. So the advantage is, suppose I decide to change this to $400. Okay, and if I come here and do a refresh, it automatically updates it to $400. So I just make a change in one place, and I can be sure it's propagated to even where it's visible outside. Okay, so that's one thing. And suppose someone wants to ask me a question on this website that I created about, hey, I have this requirement. I need to just get in touch with you. For that, you can use a Google form to do that. So suppose someone wants to reserve something. So again, I go back to my drive, and one of them is called forms. So I can go to my forms. I can create a blank form, and I'm going to call it request for reservation. Excuse my English, it's kind of. So this description is just for you. It's and then I can create a form request for reservation, Control C. And so I'm going to add a question. How many children? I'm going to make it a short answer. You have options of making it check boxes, multiple choice, a drop down box, and multiple grid. There are many things that you can do as an option for these question types. Okay, I'm going to make that required. Then, just like other Google products, there is a duplicate. I can duplicate this quickly. And what days? Here, I can make a checkbox grid, and I can say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I can add a column. I forgot how to add a column. I think it should be just like this, right? So, okay. Thursday, Friday. I'm just assuming that my center is closed on Saturdays and Sundays, okay? So it has a spell check in it, so it can tell you what to do. Okay. So I can now add this question to, let's say I am done with my form. Okay. What I'm trying to, and then I'm going to change some settings. So if there are people responding to my form, what should I do with the responses? Typically, they just populate this page you're seeing, so you can see the responses. Another way is to create a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet is automatically updated with a timestamp anytime someone fills the form. You can also, with the settings, create an option presentation. Hold on. I think it is. Whoops. So in the settings, I can also create an option of getting an email if any response is there. So I click on these three things, get email notifications for new responses. So under responses, I clicked on this to create a sheet to collect the responses. I can also choose to get email notifications for new response. Anytime someone comes and adds this, they will get, you will get an email, and the email goes to your Gmail that is associated with this account. Okay, so now that I have my form ready, I'll go back and create a new page. Okay. Contact us. Okay. And then I'm just going to, just so that we practice this one more time, at least I practice it. So just like before, I can choose something to, okay. Here in the insert part, I am going to insert my form. So this is the one that I did today, and I'm going to say insert. What it does is it creates a place for you to check. Well, I didn't do a great job with this. I have to rearrange this so it does a good, I think I'm going to do forenoon and afternoon. So I can go back to this, and here I can do AM, PM. So Google products automatically save every few seconds. So if I come back and refresh it, I should see the one I modified. Let's see if it does that. Okay. Now we are still building the form. It is still not available for people to use it yet. Okay. So there are other options to embed documents or whatever you want, or images and things like that. Okay. So these 3 pages that I made are visible on the top: home, fees and tuition, contact us. One more sip of water. Questions? No? Very clear so far? That's nice. Okay. So once you do this with just using a template, then you can go back and use a lot of these to improve upon what you already have. Okay. There are a lot of content blocks that have an image and some text, image with text at the bottom, and other things like that. Okay. You can keep on, and if you have a long document, you can have a table of contents. So you can decide to do that when you have a chance. There's also a button like for donate. So for example, I want to create a button with a name and a link. And then let's say this link should go to someplace else, but it can go to your donation page, and I can just put a donate button and adjust the size of it. Or okay, things like that. So once someone clicks on it, it goes to wherever you want. So there are many options that you can use that are already there from the available ones. It's not got a lot of options, but I think it has enough for you to create your own website a comfortable starting point for your business. Okay, now that I have my home page, my fees and tuition page, and the contact us page, I am now now this is still not visible to the public outside, okay? I am going to publish it. And when I publish it, that's when it's visible to everybody else. So I click on publish. It asks me for a web address. Because this is a Google product, this section, sites.google.com/view, is common for any of the Google sites. So I'm going to give a website that is new CCC, already in use, CCC Vermont. Okay. If it's already in use, it tells you you can't use it. So the URL for this, what we created, will be sites.google.com/view/CCC Vermont. Okay. You can also, like I said, you can do a custom domain. A custom domain is if you actually buy a domain name from someone, you can make this page point to that. Okay, by setting up, you can do that. You can also you can create who can or cannot view this site. Okay, so if it's a published site, everybody can view it. If it's a private site, not many can view it. You can do what's called a restricted site. A restricted site is a site where only people with the link you provide can access it, not everybody. Okay, so let's put this in public. Okay, now that I have this ready, I can also choose not to let search engines display the site in the search listings. Okay, I'm going to publish it. View published site. So this is how it looks. Kind of looks like a reasonably good web page too, right? I can go navigate just like you do a regular site, and I think I should give, there it is, and contact us. The form is filled up. Okay. Any questions on how we publish the site? No? Okay. Now we're going to do a couple of tests, okay, on this site. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this reservation form and see how it shows up on our end. Okay. Now this is a web. Before that, let's see if I search for CCCC Vermont on a Google search engine, google.com. How quickly does this show up? So I'm trying to do this. Okay, because that is what I gave as the unique word. Nope. Not yet. Oh, there's someone else with CCCV Vermont, almost. Okay. Competing with my, so it's not showing up yet. So hopefully pretty soon it should show up when you search for it. Now I wanted to see the actual website. I am going to fill this form. So how many children? Let's say I have 12 children. And they want to come on. Okay. submit. Your response has been recorded. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to my form. Okay. If I open the form under responses, you can see this number 1 there that tells you that I got 1 response. If I click on this, I should see a summary of a collection, a compilation of all the responses. I can see a summary. I can do it per question. And I can also see each individual response for the 2 questions. So I know exactly how you can easily print it or make a PDF to do whatever you want with it. But we also created one Excel sheet in which we wanted to record all the responses. So this is an Excel sheet. You see how it added how many children along with a timestamp of when. Of course, it's showing the timestamp of Arizona, but you know what I mean. It takes the local time from, it tells you which day, PM or AM. So I can actually go, I can submit another response. This time, let's say I have only 1 child and I just want to do 1 day a PM. Oh, see, that is at least 1 response per row. I got to change the type of question or the option because I should be able to get just 1 reservation for just 1 time of the day. See, now I got 2 responses. The summary, you can see each question. This is the first question. This is the second question. And each individual response. And my Excel or my sheet is also updated with the new thing. So you can, in this free thing we created on Google Sites, you can use it to get communication to you without really having an email or anything. Just someone can fill up a form and you can get the information you want. You can use it and track it and capture it in a sheet so that you can play with the data and see how many people are coming in or do whatever you want with it. I just want to see how I can change this question so that, require a response in each row. That is what I need to switch off. They should be able to choose whatever they want. I'm just going to do it one more time. Okay. So I know that thing works. So I'm here. I'm just 2 children. I just want this 1 AM, but this time I should be able to submit. It did. Okay. So whatever changes you make to the form, to the sheet are immediately propagated onto your website too. So you don't have to do it in multiple places. Okay. I'm going to stop for a little bit and ask you if you have any questions for this or anything else.
I don't have any questions because I'm already working in the Wix platform, so I don't know if this. And also, when I use email, these options are only available in personal email.
No, it's available. You just have to type in sites.google.com. So this is
so I can do my business one too. But
yeah.
I mean, now that I'm already on the Wix platform, I've already got the site up and running. How would this be useful?
This could be useful because this is free.
But I mean, now that I already have a site and I'm already paying for it,
so
what happens next?
So when the cycle is over, you could make it point to this. And
how would I migrate my existing site to
okay,
Google?
let me see how we could do that part. Okay. So in this custom domains, Oh, I'm sharing. Okay, I'm still sharing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I did is kind of go to the settings, and I'm in the edit mode.
Okay.
So the way I did it is, if you go to a site that is on how it's published and you logged in, there's a little edit icon that shows up at the bottom. So you could click on it and it'll take you to the edit page of your site. Here, I'm clicking on the gear wheel, which is the settings icon,
Mhm.
and I'm going to custom domains, and I'm going to start a setup. You can use a domain from a third party, or you
Okay.
can buy a domain.
Okay.
In the past, Google did not let you buy a domain,
Uh,
but now it does. So it becomes an easy. For example, I can go to a Google's domain and I can search for any domain that is. So I say CCCCVERMONT and search. So I can see the results, right?
right, but I don't have a Google domain, so how would I migrate my domain?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So let's look at that. So this is
You mean I
from
would Google the domain I have now on Google?
right. So
What did
if
you
I
just do?
go to this
You go to settings to
custom domain,
custom
start
domain,
setup, and use a domain from a
use a
third party.
domain. Okay, yeah.
Okay, and you can go to, you enter your domain name and kind of go from there.
Okay,
It's a 3-step process. So
sure.
you just have to show that you own the domain. So I think they'll send you an email and you have to respond to it.
Okay.
So let's see if I do techfortomorrow.org. And I do a next. Oh, I got to go to the domain registrar and change my DNS settings. Okay, it's a simple process. Typically, anybody will let you do
Oh,
that.
I see. Yeah, you follow the instructions. Yep.
Instructions to do
Okay.
that. So whenever
Gotcha.
someone clicks on that, it will point them to your Google site. Now, all this information is on the Google server.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Okay.
how it is. Typically, what happens is, right, with hosting, suppose you host it with a company,
Mm-hmm.
they will throw in the domain name
Mm-hmm. That's
free
what
of
I have.
free of
Yeah.
cost, kind.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's not for life.
Sure. I have to buy it every year.
Every year you have to renew it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the disadvantages, if you're starting new in business, this may make sense because
Mhm.
you want to keep the cost low. So I
Mhm.
don't mind, for example, having sites.google.com, my childcare center, as a website
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
I can just use that, and I can just share that email that with anyone else,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'll copy and paste it in an email, and then
Mhm.
I'm all set. That
Yeah.
is one reason why. So this is for someone who's just starting a business and wants to kind of have somewhat of a website
Mm-hmm.
presence. It's a starting point of a business.
That's
And
great.
like
Ron,
yeah, go
could I
ahead.
just add that, it might not be what you'd like to do, Liz. You might really like your platform and be happy with it. In which case that's fine too. And
Yeah, no, I don't like it. I don't,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I don't rely on my website a lot for business because I'm not sales driven. So it makes a lot of sense to migrate it
Okay.
for free.
I didn't want you to
free.
feel like we're pushing you to
Oh, no,
it,
I don't feel like that at all. I just I wish I had known,
Yeah.
No, but in the spirit of full disclosure, Rachel, I'm biased towards Google. Okay, in spite of the fact that they steal our data, there are a couple of reasons. One reason is because of them being everywhere, their security for your data is kind of comparable to the best of the best. So it does not matter if you have one document or if you're a large company with millions of documents, their level of security is still the same. So you can actually gain or take advantage of their experience with all kinds of, malware and attacks and stuff, and benefit from that. So I'd rather go with a large company than a small company with a little firewall that they update manually over time. And it's just my thing.
So what are the chances they're gonna stay free?
I cannot answer that question, but
I know, I just think at some point they'll start charging.
but I don't think they're losing a lot of business just because they have these things.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just kind of kidding.
Right.
'Cause-
And not only that, Liz, this is what I think. Even though you're not buying any of Google services, I think they're getting enough data off of you
Oh, yeah,
based on your browsing habits and based on what you're trying to do, that
sure.
it more than compensates
up.
them, right? Just your
It's
fact
true.
that you're using the Google products itself is more than enough.
They know everything
reason for
about
them.
you.
Yeah. So it is in
That's
their best interest to keep some of these products free. At least that's what I think.
right, that's
So,
true.
but I cannot answer how long they'll keep it free.
No, I know. Great, I'll try that. I'll see what happens. I think I just subscribed. I just started paying, like in March or something. So I'll see what happens after a year.
So did, just out of curiosity, they threw in the domain name also for you?
Yeah, it was the lowest level buy-in,
Okay.
it's like $9 a month or something.
Okay, but not just for business. I was wondering if you want to tell some other people that they can use it for their general blogs or things like that, and for a small price, like $12 a year, they can have their own domain. You see, like I shown you, for example, right? You can buy
Yeah.
a domain and not have to spend anything else,
Yeah, that's great.
and have their own presence, like with complete control. Now you have complete control of every page. You don't have to worry about. And with Google products, it looks like I'm a Google salesman today, but whatever it. For Google products, you don't have to update.
Right.
You always have the latest and the greatest. So
Yeah.
if you use any other platform, which like, for example, my company uses WordPress,
Mhm.
and WordPress has to be updated anytime there's a new thing, and I have to make sure that everything that I use along with WordPress is also compatible with it,
Mhm.
and things like that.
Mhm. Yeah. And you can add and to take away features of different things like you might use or not use,
Right.
like the contact or the Excel or the forms or all
Or
that.
change on the fly, right? Very,
Yeah,
very easily.
it's really convenient.
So, and there are some good themes too. Like, for example, we can change a theme of the website
Nice.
on the fly, and even the colors.
Mhm.
So you can kind of have like a quick new version of your website every few months. maybe for the fall colors, you can have a nice, that kind of thing. Okay. And even the fonts. So it's not, it doesn't have all the options, and but for someone who does not want to spend a lot of time,
Right. It
it
makes a
provides
lot of
some
sense.
flexibility.
Mhm.
Okay. So any more questions? No. So before I leave, I want to kind of give you one quick thing that if you do use this, I want you to try it, is once you have everything done, you can see how your website looks,
Mm.
not just on a computer. You can see how it looks on a tablet. You can see how it looks on a phone,
Hmm.
and then make some adjustments based on how it looks. this kind of quick visibility, it's a nice feature for this to
Mhm.
have. So most people, we are not sure how they access your website. And
Mhm.
this feature is something I think is done well in the Google product. So it's this button, this
Yeah.
click called preview. And
Okay.
once you press it, it's got the options at the bottom with a phone, a tablet, and a large screen. And you can exit the preview. Okay. Suppose you want to have someone else work on this site a little, you can just, share,
Mhm.
and you can share the link so that they can also access it and start working on it. So you can give them the edit access, things like that. Okay. It becomes easy for collaboration too.
Mhm.
Okay. Rachel, do you have any questions?
No, thank you. I'm good.
That's excellent.
Okay. So I'm going to do one quick review of what we did, and then we can close. Okay. So I created a document using Google Docs to get all the information I want for my website, gather everything together before I start creating the website. So I created a fictitious site for a child care center, and I got all these subheadings filled up. Then I created a Google Sheet in which I have information about the registration, tuition, and other incidental charges for my child care center. Once I have these ready, I went to sites.google.com and created a new site from a template. So I used a template because I just didn't want to spend too much time trying to do it from scratch. I used a template for a small business and then changed it to my child care center's website. And I can also change the images and search for images that are not copyrighted or at least copyright free, so I can freely use them. I can create sections, and I can duplicate sections using the duplicate section part. And once I create them, I can quickly drag and drop them to wherever I want, so that I can adjust where they stay in the order of things. And then I created a couple of pages, and in the fees and tuition page, I embedded my Google Sheet. In the contact us, I created a Google form to collect all the responses that I want to get from my website. I have an option of getting an email. I chose the option of getting an email. So I go to the responses, click on these three dots and say, get email notifications for new responses. And I chose to get the responses onto a Google Sheet. And as we've seen, the sheet gets updated as each of new people sign up or use the form. And I can also go to the form and look at the responses that are there. So this is incremental. So it keeps adding the number each time the form gets a new number. And we use Google Forms for some of the classes we have, so we know how many are enrolling and things like that. And then we published the site. We saw how we can use a third-party domain, or we can buy a domain from Google. And then you are good to go. Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Emmy.
Thank you, Donga.